guys hear him? It comes in. Hello and good evening. Thank you all for being here. My name is Sarah Lewis. I am a member of the board for RAW, and I'm excited to be here presenting our July RAW Talk. We've been doing RAW Talk since January, so this is exciting to see us in our 7th talk of the year. RAW has been around for a long time in a different entity. For about 10 years, RAW was under, well, sorry, not RAW, but the grassroots initiative was involved with the runway repurposed fashion shows for about 10 years, which Richard was also part of that as the photographer in those days. I was thinking there was going to be one of our designers that was going to be here tonight. She might end up showing up, but a local mother, grandmother that also participated. She's not here yet. Oh, a designer's grandmother, your granddaughter was in there. So it's great to have some of your presence here with that tonight, but that's where this started. And then a few years ago, RAW took over the grassroots initiative, and we are building a new vision for art and creativity in our community. We have a big vision right now that we want to have a maker space in our county, a maker space where people can come together, learn, teach, and do art in a variety of different genres. We feel that everyone can connect to creativity through art, and we want to have that space for them to do so. So tonight, we are featuring the well-known, very involved and respected Richard Lim. Congratulations, come on up here.
That works. Okay, so we'll take a little trip just to show you where I came from. Oops. So my grandparents came from Xiamen, China, in Fujian province, the southern coast of China, where, oops, yeah, a lot of merchants come from there because it was by the water and everything. So most of them would travel to other countries in Southeast Asia and end up living there. So from there, he moved to the Philippines. Which is just right around the corner in a little island called Cebu. So I was born and raised there, went through school all the way through college and everything, started working and came here back in the 80s. So so I'm Chinese, born and raised in the Philippines, Catholic, a lot of guilt. So went through Catholic school all the way, and then plus the Chinese thing, so it's like double whammy guilt. Yeah, so need a lot of therapy. Let's see here. Let me get out of this. Okay. So Okay, that's my mom and dad. Um, Sorry about that. I get emotional about this. So we're nice Catholic family, 7 kids, although one of my sister died during World War II of scarlet fever. And so a lot of kids, typical Catholic family. I'm the baby. Yeah, I was the oops baby. So if you'll notice, everybody is all grown up and everything. And um, one of the reasons why I stuck with photography was um, my dad died when I was 8. So that was the only thing I could, you know him by through pictures. So that's why I think photography is so important. So being the oops baby, I was left all alone at home. Everybody's grown up, went to college, left the house and everything. And I was stuck with stacks of Life magazine and National Geographic magazine. My oldest brother had a lifetime subscription to that. So that's all I was all alone at home. So that's all I would read and watch. And I think by osmosis, somehow you pick up, uh, you know, these are great photographers that um, support this magazine. So somehow, I've never had any formal photography lessons and other than, a few workshops here and there from people and all that stuff. No formal schooling on that. No. Um, first time I used a camera was in 4th grade. I had to borrow my sister's Brownie camera. Went to the zoo, took some pictures here and there, blurry ones. Um, Never, yeah, I would borrow my sister's camera here and there, but nothing really stuck to it. And in fact, I got my first real camera in the 80s after I graduated from college and was working. So let's go from there. I think my exposure to these magazines really helped because somehow it, having gone through them a million times, being left alone at home, somehow it registers what a good picture looks like and that sort of thing. Um, so the journey of 1,000 miles, an old Chinese saying, begins with a single step. I took a million step in the wrong direction. Um, if you are, let me tell you, if you're born in a Chinese family and a boy, you're expected to be either an engineer, lawyer, a doctor, accountant, banker, whatever. And art was not one of those things. Being a photographer was not one of those things. So naturally, I ended up in business school, um, went to college at the Jesuit University in the Philippines. Got out of there, worked for an investment bank for about 4 or 5 years, and then came here to the States. Um, then worked a ton of jobs because I was new in the country. They didn't really think much about my education or whatever. But I landed at the bank, uh, collected student loans, did consumer loans. Um, I was a road rep for the bank for car loans and that sort of thing. My territory was Southeast Michigan, and that was fun. Made a lot of money and everything for being fresh off the boat. Um, but then that was the era of the savings and loans thing. And so in 1990, I ended up at got we all got laid off. Everybody in Michigan got laid off. And then I ended up at Merrill Lynch for about 4 or 5 years as a stockbroker, and then left in '95. Started a day trading firm with some friends and stuck to it for about 15 years. So it was a slight 30-year detour, you know, um, in a different direction. So I always tell people my previous life, I was something else. So in 2010, we got hit by one of our accounts, and the owners of the firm didn't want to put more money in. So oh, thank God that it happened, because I was burnt out. I would have probably been dead by now from the stress, because I was running the firm, and every day I was fighting fire. And so I had all the licenses, and the least path of resistance was to go back to another financial firm. I burned that bridge. I didn't want to go back into that. And then I went full time on the photography thing. And happier than a clam right now. Because, I love dealing with people. And, I don't know, I'm a smart ass, and have fun all the time. Okay, there were a few things that really blew my photography to the next level. One was coming here to Howell. Um, we loved the town, and there was a lot to photograph as far as the town was concerned. The people were great, when my kids were just growing up, so it was just great. And then digital happened. That really increased the level of my photography, mainly because of instant feedback. If I take a picture, I know right away what was wrong, what was right, what I can fix right away. And I grew from there. And then, the thing is, I was then doing this part-time. I was running the firm, the day trading firm. I needed some kind of outlet to, before I met this hoodlums here that walked in. So that was pretty much it. That really. So I started late. I got my first camera when I was what 20 something, and for the next 20 or odd sort, the fly is here. The lady was talking about the fly. So another 20 years or so before I got my first digital camera, and that just blew up. So, and my mentality, my mindset was that there were no obstacles. Everything was an opportunity, and I love having fun. It's I'm always game for to shoot something, and I shoot everything. The traditional way of thinking was that you have to specialize in something. I didn't want to do that, because I don't know, I easily got bored with things. So I'd like to try different things. And along that way, I learned a lot about photography from doing different types of photography. And the first thing that really helped me was shooting weddings. Because with weddings, you learn to shoot portraits, group pictures, detail shots, landscape, whatever, everything, So that really upped my game from there. I did that for a few years. I didn't do it myself. I found a guy that would supposedly teach me, but he needed me to carry his bags and all that stuff. So uh, he didn't, yeah, never learned anything from the guy other than the fact that um, I learned what not to do from him, because he smoked a lot, and he would post the bride, and you know, try to touch the bride with his smelly fingers and everything. And I was like, you can't do that. So I learned in a off way how what not to do. Um, so yeah, I started with this back in the 80s, and then there are a few more in between and all that stuff. But basically, I'm using these two right now. I've had this for over 10 years, and it's like a workhorse. And I basically spent all of my money on lenses. Bought the most expensive lenses, and the bodies will change every 6 months. And that's what I tell people: just invest in the lens. And but again, you have to consider these as tools. It's not the end all and be all. You could use Nikon, you can use Sony or whatever. It really doesn't matter. What's really important is what's what's between the ears. So, but a lot of people, especially guys, are like gear hogs. Oh, I got this. Which is better, Canon or Nikon? Okay, so to learn what you are best at and what you are most passionate about, you have to say yes, and a lot of yeses. And I did a lot of yeses. I did everything. I volunteered for the Opera House, I volunteered for CTH, I volunteered for the high school performing arts, for the high school football teams and all that stuff, and the parades and everything that was going on in Howell, I would shoot, because that's how I learned and developed the skills, I guess. So this is an example of a shot that was made in 1910. Photographer, I don't know about, I don't know the name. But to illustrate, let me see if I can get this to work. What's that? Would that work? Who is this? Who is this? Do it. This is my daughter, by the way. So I wasn't I wasn't sure if I get people in here. So this is, if you walk out the library, front of the library, you're gonna see the church across the street. There's a tower in there. And I climbed that tower a few years ago because of Joyce Fisher. And I said yes to her. She said I needed a picture of the library. So I said yes to her. And I climbed 80 some feet on rickety ladders. This is metal, but the rest of the way was wooden. I don't know how old those ladders were. I know. Yeah, I know. No, it's in my computer, dear. I don't know what happened to the sound. So I just wanted to illustrate the things I would go through, the extent of. The winter one was an old one from 1910, yes. So I wanted to recreate that. And there was another level. Look at the ladder, it's wood. I don't know how old it is. It's got all sorts of bird poop. I know. That was the worst part. So that's Howl. And you can see all the way to last Sunday, I think. Go back to the slide. Okay. First one. First. No, no. Current. Ew. Okay. And then go slideshow, man. Ah. Please excuse my technical people. They're sleeping on the job here. Wait, wait, what are you doing? What happened? Go to the library. Yeah. Thank you, Matt. So this was a shot that Joyce Fisher wanted from the tower. 2015. Yeah, yeah. I might have to climb it again. And this is a shot that I sold a lot of. So I love to take landmarks of how it's just awesome. I can't stop taking pictures of the courthouse because it's always different. The sky is different, the crowd or whatever, and the cloud is different. Yeah. So there's always something. It always gives me something, you know. And this is Howell's stadium, the football stadium. I was coming back from taking a picture at uh, the end zone where Howell did the touchdown. I was walking back and the sky, just noticed the sky was red. I was like, dropped my camera, got a wide angle lens, and took that. So it's opportunities, and you just have to be there, take it. And then Balloon Fest, of course, the library. Yeah. And this was in the middle of December, freezing. Um, so usually every year around just before Christmas, I would go out and shoot the Christmas lights around town. It's the function of your lens, um, how how close you have the lens and it will flare up. No, no, no. So you know that if you close down the aperture of the lens, it will, flare. Um, and then I do weddings and engagements. These two were just too lovely. They're a great couple to photograph. Yeah. And then Eli. Yeah. He, the kid just graduated from high school. Just goes to show how old I am. But those eyes. And then I shoot a lot the Howell High School, their plays and everything. So this was all a friend of mine Photoshop. I shot each group and then he Photoshopped everything together. And then I shoot football games and I just love this, that everybody was focused on the ball and, high school pictures and the headshots. Some of you might know some of these people here. So that's my next project is to do headshots of who's who in Livingston County. I'd like to make that happen. So this never saw the light of day, okay? Until now. So I photographed this for Catholic charities for their dance thing. And I told, I asked her, I want to do this. I've got a shotgun coming, a leather skirt and all this stuff. I called Murph and I told him, bring a straight jacket, please. So we did this. And then I sent a picture to Catholic charities. Didn't hear back from them. I don't think they saw the humor in it, but it's all good. I know, it's all about fun, And I do real estate and, this was in a realtor's book or whatever. This was one of Jeff Doyle's houses that he built. This is another house out in Lake Point. Is it Lake Oak Point in Brighton? I mean, the minute you walk in, you see a big black bear. It's like, how are you going to sell the house with all this? So, and this is Jeff Doyle's home he built. And some of you might recognize this building in Brighton, Rotherman. And okay, so I'm sure you guys all heard about all the stuff going on around Howell and the buildings and all that stuff. I did a job for a local restaurant and photographed their interior. Went home, put the pictures in the computer, and discovered a big surprise. So do you recognize this place? No, the Old Diamonds, but it's cellos right now. Yeah. So if you'll notice, there's some blurry stuff here, fuzzy stuff there. So I cropped it in and enhanced it. And that is what I found. And my hair was like, oh no. Yeah, yeah. So that's it. That's my, my encouragement for people that want to get into photography is to find your next project and always constantly do that because you grow every time, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Some of my biggest mistakes came up with the best picture. Like I took a picture of a bunch of tulips, pink tulips, and overexposed it. And it was like on first, on first look, it was like, oh, this is garbage. I'm throwing it out and everything. But then you tweak it a little, and it looks like a painting, like a watercolor painting of a flower. And I should have brought that in. Okay, sure. But I think no, I did the film thing, but send it to the labs and all that stuff. Well, it's not boom. It's more. It takes more time now because in the past, when you're shooting film, you send it to the labs, they fix it, and then until you get it back. Now you got to deal with it yourself. So I spend more time on the computer than taking pictures. Yep, yep. Brightening and cutting heads off. So you're welcome to check my website. Everything is pretty much there. I put everything in there, even the repurposed thing, football games, everything. You junk food? I don't know. I laugh a lot. Yeah, I laugh a lot. Cat? Phil. Yeah. Phil or orange cat. Yeah, yeah. But then, I laugh at myself. Um, if you earlier, like I get emotional, I would get an emotional over the stupidest thing, like finding Dory or whatever. The girls would laugh at me. I'd be crying in the theater over a cartoon. So I don't know. I don't know about that. I never thought of myself as an artist. Um, I don't know. That's why when Barb asked me? No, I always joke about the fact that I'm a hack. you know, uh, um, I get lucky with pictures. Sometimes I get lucky. Still a lot of luck. I'd be the first to admit it. I don't know. But some people are full of themselves. Um, there's an element of luck because you have to have like the balloons. They have to glow at the same time. Okay. Or and you could be hitting the shutter when it's not right. So when it's glowing, the shutter is not. Yeah. So it's there's an element of luck there. There's an element of, how do you say it? like when I do headshots, people are awkward about having their photographs taken. So I always joke about it. I say, smile as pretend like you're smile like you mean it, and somehow it clicks with people, and they just smile or whatever, and then I capture that. So sometimes it's hard. I may take a lot for a headshot, or I may take as little. If it's there, I'm done. It's like I got it. You can go now. So there's an element of luck there. I, I can say I'm so good and all that stuff, and yeah, nah. Oh, food. I love eating any kind of food, whether it's cooked or raw or whatever. I'll eat anything. I'll eat Polish food. I'll eat sushi. I'll eat raw stuff, and I'll eat anything. Oh, jeez. Oh, don't waste your time working for somebody else. Yeah, yeah. I wasted. It's not a total waste. I'm thankful for it. It's allowed me to do some things, and I learned a lot from it. But in a way, I wasted a lot of time doing something I hated. Every time I get on I-96 to go to West Bloomfield, where my office was, my neck would just tighten up. Um, yeah, yeah. In a way, because I had three girls, the wife and three girls, and so you need insurance and all that stuff, and a steady income. And plus, when you're from a Chinese family and everything, it's like, you gotta take care of everything. all that, all that bullshit. Um, so there was pressure, I guess, in a way, to do that, to stick to that. And it came to a point. I think it was like that's why I said thank God. The business got hit by that, and I had no choice. I had to burn that bridge. So thankful for that. I don't know, my sisters. I've got two older sisters right now that's left, and my family maybe. Catholic, Catholic school. No, it wasn't a rinky-dink thing. It was a way to show it out there, showcase the event, through photography. So yeah, always glad to help. Yeah, I pride myself of outlasting, because there's a ton of photographers. You know, every time there's somebody on Facebook asking about a photographer, if they, referral or whatever, there's a million of them, and you just have to outlast them. And I don't know, that's just the way I do things. You're welcome. Appreciate that. Thanks. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I'm still thankful for that. Yeah. There's a lot I have to be. So if you're not on Facebook, yeah, it's every morning since April of 2020, when COVID happens, I started posting because of all the garbage in Facebook. And I try to go to Kroger as much. Thanks. Appreciate that. Thank you.